The doors opened with a soft hum. A bright golden light filled the hallway, and the humans stepped inside. What they saw made them stop for a moment. The council chamber was massive like a stadium, but much taller and wider. In the center was a round platform. Around it were thousands of seats, each filled with beings from different parts of the galaxy. Some aliens were small and glowing like fireflies. Others were tall with wings made of light. A few looked like giant plants, gently moving even without wind. Some wore clothes, others didn't need any. The colors, shapes, and sizes were endless. It was like stepping into a dream. Rihan took a deep breath. His team followed behind him quietly. They were guided to the center, where a small round stage waited. Everyone stared. Whispers began. A few aliens laughed in strange clicking voices. One leaned to another and said, "Why are the Forgotten Ones here?" The voice echoed through the chamber. The council's head speaker was an ancient alien named Voctal. He had no eyes, but his voice was sharp and cold. His skin looked like smooth rock, and he had long arms that moved slowly. He rose from his seat and raised one arm. "This session begins," he said in a deep voice. "Species 789, humanity. You have arrived. Speak." Rihan stepped forward. His heart pounded in his chest, but his voice stayed calm. "We come in peace," he said. "We were invited. We bring no weapons. We only bring hope for friendship." There was silence for a few seconds. Then soft laughter filled the hall dark. An unfriendly, Voctal raised his arm again. Sound stopped. "You speak of peace," he said. "But your kind was not meant to be here." Rihan frowned. "What do you mean?" A new voice spoke from the upper levels. It came from a strange, bird-like alien with silver feathers and 6 glowing eyes. "Humans are dangerous," it said. "Unstable. Too fast. Too curious." Another voice joined in. "You were locked away for a reason. Earth was left out of the star maps." Rihan looked around, confused. "We never harmed you. We didn't even know you existed. How can we be dangerous?" Voctal slowly walked forward. "Thousands of years ago, long before your history began, humans were ... different. You were part of the galaxy once. But something happened. Something no one speaks of now." Rihan's mind raced. None of this was in Earth's history books. Humans thought they were alone. But the truth was different. A large screen appeared above the council floor. It showed a planet Earth long ago. Strange ships flew over it. Beams of light moved across oceans. Alien figures walked beside early humans. Then the screen turned red. "Fire, war, chaos. You rebelled," Voctal said. "You fought your creators. You broke free. And so, you were hidden, erased, forgotten." The room filled with quiet gasps. Even Rihan's team looked shocked. "Are you saying we were slaves?" the historian asked softly. "No," Voctal replied. "You were worse. You were survivors." Rihan stood taller. "If we survived, it means we were strong. It means you were a mistake," Voctal said coldly. "And mistakes must not return." Anger began to rise in the room. Some aliens shouted. Others banged on their seats. One large red-skinned being pointed at Rihan. "Send them back. Earth is not ready." But another voice spoke, calm and wise. It came from a soft blue creature sitting in a floating chair. "Perhaps it is time to listen." The noise stopped. All eyes turned to her. "Humans have grown without us," she said. "They built their world alone. Maybe that means they are different now." Voctal didn't reply. He looked down at Rihan. "Very well," he said. "We shall allow you to speak again tomorrow. But be careful. There are those who do not want you here, and they are already moving." With that, the session ended. Rihan and his team were taken to a small guest room. It had soft lights, food that changed flavor, and walls that played music when touched. But no one felt at peace. They sat in silence, thinking, "We were erased from history," the historian whispered. "They fear us," said the pilot. Rihan stood by the window, looking at the stars outside. "They fear what we might become," he said. Well, now we know the truth, and we're not going back. Far away, deep in the council's shadows, a secret meeting was already taking place. Cold voices spoke of plans. A vote, a strike, maybe? An attack, because now that humanity had returned, nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same. The guest room was quiet, but Rayhan could not sleep. He sat near the window, watching the stars outside. It looked peaceful, but inside his heart, there was a storm. Everything they had heard in the council was too much. Humanity, once part of the galaxy, erased, forgotten, didn't feel real. Yet the images, the voices, they couldn't be lies. The rest of the team was silent too. The historian kept looking at her notes, shaking her head. "This changes everything," she said. "Our whole past. It's not what we thought." Suddenly, the door made a soft sound. In. A tall alien entered slowly. She looked strange but not threatening. Her skin was soft purple, her eyes large and sad. She wore long robes, and her fingers moved gently like waves. She didn't speak at first. She looked around the room, then at Rihan. "I am Cyril," she said. "I am a keeper of records. I study truth, hidden truth." Rayhan stood up. "Are you here to threaten us?" "No," she said calmly. "I'm here because you deserve to know." She walked to the center of the room and pulled out a small cube. It floated in the air and began to glow. Images filled the room, not just pictures, memories, real ones. They saw ancient humans working in fields, building towers, flying ships alongside aliens. Not primitive humans. Smart ones. Strong ones. Brave. But always watched. Always controlled. Then came the chains. The commands. Rebellion. "You were made to serve," Cyril said. "But you asked questions. You wanted freedom. No one expected that." More images. Humans rising. Fighting back. Alien masters. Falling. Whole systems breaking apart. Earth was sealed off. Forbidden, the council declared. No contact. No light. No return. "But we survived," Rayhan said slowly. Cyril nodded. "Yes. You survived when you were meant to vanish." The historian looked shocked. "Why hide this from us?" "Because the council fears what you became without them," Cyril said. "You built fire, machines, rockets all on your own. No help, no guidance. You are ... different now." "Different is not dangerous," Rayhan replied. "But many here believe it is," she said softly. "And some want to erase you again this time completely." There was silence. Then Rayhan asked, "Why are you telling us this?" "Because truth matters," Cyril said. "Even if it's dangerous," she gave Rayhan the cube. "Use this when you speak again. Show them. Let them. Remember." Before she left, she paused at the door. "But be warned, not all truth brings peace. Some truths bring war." The door closed behind her. Later that night, alarms suddenly rang across the station. Red lights flashed. The humans jumped to their feet. A voice echoed in the air. "Emergency lockdown. Intruder alert." A drone floated into their room and spoke. "Remain inside. This is for your safety." But Rihan's instincts told him something was wrong. "Check the ship," he told the engineer. Using a wrist display, the engineer accessed Unity one's systems. His face turned pale. "There's been a breach. Someone tried to plant something. A device. A bomb," the pilot asked. "Maybe the engineer said it didn't activate, but someone got close." Rihan clenched his fists. "They're trying to silence us before we speak." The next morning, the council chamber was even colder than before. Eyes burned with suspicion. The Zorth Dominion, a powerful reptilian race, stood tall. Their leader, General Skarenik, pointed a clawed hand at the humans. "They are a threat," he shouted. "They have already drawn blood in the past. We will not wait for it to happen again." Rihan stepped forward, his face calm. "We did not come to fight," he said. "But someone tried to destroy our ship last night. Call us dangerous, but we have not hurt anyone." He held up the glowing cube. "This ... is your own history. You erased it. but it still exists. He activated the cube. Once again, the memories filled the chamber. This time, louder, brighter. The truth could not be denied. Whispers spread. Some aliens looked shocked, others ashamed, few still angry. "You survived," said one small, bird-like alien. "Without help, we learned," Rahan said. "We struggled, built our world from dust." "Alone?" General Skarenik growled. "And now you want power?" "No," Rihan said. "We want respect, and a place in this galaxy we once called home." The chamber was silent then. Someone clapped. Soft, slow clap. It came from the far end. A shadowy figure stood and spoke. "Let them speak again," the voice said. "Not every race that rebels is evil. Sometimes rebellion is how life begins." It was an old Aliena legend known to many who had not spoken in years. His support changed everything. The session ended with a promise. One more speech. Last chance. Then a vote would decide humanity's fate. As Rihan walked out, he held the cube tight in his hand. He had seen the truth. But the galaxy had not yet decided if it wanted to face it. The council chamber was quiet the next day. Too quiet. Rihan felt it the moment he stepped inside. The air was colder. Stairs were harder. Something had changed. He looked up at the massive dome above them. Stars shined beyond the glass. But today, they felt distant like watchers, refusing to help. The council members took their seats, one by one. Some nodded to the humans. Others didn't even look at them. Tension hung in the air like smoke. Rahan stood on the center stage once again. His team sat behind him, eyes alert. They knew the truth now, but truth alone was not enough. There were those in the council who had already made up their minds. They didn't want humans to belong. They wanted Earth gone. One of them was General Skarenik of the Zorth Dominion. He stood tall, scales shining under the lights, eyes like burning coals. When he spoke, his voice echoed with anger. "Enough talk," he said. "They say they come in peace, but what if they lie? What if this is the first step in another rebellion?" Raised his hand. "We don't want war. We only want to exist. You fear us not because of what we did, but because of what we might become. You call that peace?" Skarenik hissed. "We call it danger." The room filled with whispers. Some species agreed with him. Others looked unsure. The vote was near. Rihan could feel the pressure building. But what no one knew, not even Rihan, was that a much darker plan had already begun, far below the chamber. In a hidden part of the council station, a device was being activated. It was small, almost invisible, and placed deep inside the human. Ship Unity 1. The attacker had failed the first time. But this time, they were careful. They knew the human ship carried something dangerous. Hope, back in the chamber, Rayhan continued to speak. "We are not perfect," he said. "But who here is? Every species has made mistakes. Every world has its scars. We have learned. We've grown. We deserve a chance to stand beside you, not beneath you." As he spoke, the human engineer Layla received a silent message on her wrist pad. Her eyes widened. "Oh no," she whispered. She quickly leaned toward Rihan. "We have a problem. A big one. Another bomb. It's already armed." Rihan stayed calm, but his voice changed. "My team just received an alert," he said to the council. "Someone has placed a bomb on our ship again. Right now. This moment." Gasps filled the room. Skarenik crossed his arms and said coldly, "How convenient." Rahan ignored him. "We ask for peace, and someone answers with death. This is not our doing. But it proves one thing: someone here fears us enough to kill us." Layla was already working from her pad. "I can disarm it," she whispered. "But I need time." "Do it," Rihan said, without turning. The council room turned into chaos. Some members shouted for an investigation. Others blamed the humans. A few left their seats in fear. But then the head speaker, Vaktal, raised his arm. "Enough." His deep voice echoed. "This is no longer a speech. This is a trial." Pointed a long finger at Rihan. Your ship is targeted. Your lives are in danger. And still, you asked to join us. Why? Rayhan stood taller. Because we will not be scared into silence. You erased us once, but we survived. We are not here to beg. We are here to remind you this council was meant to be for all, even those you tried to forget. A soft beep came from Layla's pad. She looked up and gave a small nod. It's done, she whispered. The bomb is disarmed. Rayhan smiled slightly. We stopped it again. Not with weapons, with minds. With courage, that is who we are. Suddenly, the old legend who had spoken in the last session stood once more. His voice was soft, but powerful. Let the vote begin, he said. The lights dimmed. A screen appeared above the council floor. Each species would vote, accept, deny, or delay. The first votes came quickly. The Zorth Dominion voted deny. No surprise. But then a small insectoid race voted accept. Glowing gas being voted accept. A group of sea creatures, floating in water tanks, voted accept. One by one, the votes came in. Some races, once silent, now stood for humanity. As the vote neared its end, the result was clear. It wasn't a full victory, but it was enough. Humanity was accepted. A wave of emotion swept through the team. Rayhan exhaled deeply. For the first time, Earth had a voice among the stars, but far away, in the darkness beyond the council station. Warships began to move. The Zorth Dominion was not finished. Yet because when old fears rise again, peace is only the beginning of the next storm. The vote had passed. Humanity was accepted into the council. But Rayhan did not smile. His team did not celebrate. They knew something was wrong. The faces of their enemies were too calm. The silence. After the vote was not peace, it was waiting. Watching, in the shadows of the council chamber, General Skarenik stood motionless. His red eyes fixed on Rayhan, his claws tapped slowly on the metal rail. One tap, two taps. It was a signal far outside the council station. In the cold dark of space, the Zorth Dominion fleet began to move. Dozens of warships turned toward Earth. Sharp, black, and fast, they were already on the way. They did not accept the vote. They did not want debate. They wanted Earth gone before it could rise. Rayhan returned to the guest room, his heart heavy. He stood by the window again. But now the stars looked different. Not beautiful, not peaceful. Just ... silent. The translator Zoya spoke quietly. They won't stop, will they? No, Rayhan replied. Not until we show them we are not afraid. An alert flashed on the wall. Private message from Sorel, the alien who had given them the truth cube. She appeared in a small hologram. They are coming, she said. I tried to stop it. I failed. The Zorth have launched a fleet. They plan to attack Earth before your people even know what's happening. The team froze. How long? Rayhan asked. For days, Sorel replied. Maybe less. You must warn your world. The council, the historian started. Rayhan shook his head. The council moves slow. Words won't stop ships. He turned to the pilot. Start Unity 1. We're going home. They rushed to the docking bay. Security tried to stop them. And the old legend from the council, his name was Elier, stood in their way. Let them go, he said. This is not just a war for Earth. This is a test for the whole galaxy. Unity 1 lifted off with a soft hum, turned toward the stars, and vanished into faster-than-light travel. Behind them, the council chamber erupted into noise. Some demanded punishment. Others demanded defense. But it was too late. Humanity had made its move. On the way back to Earth, Rayhan activated the wide-range communication system. He spoke not just to Earth, but to every listening ear in the galaxy. This is Ambassador Rayhan Malik, speaking on behalf of humanity. We came in peace. We showed you the truth. We respected your vote. But now, some among you have chosen war. Know this. We do not run. We do not hide. We have stood alone before. We can stand again. Back on Earth, the signal reached every screen, every speaker. People stopped in the streets. They watched their ambassador speak to the stars. Rayhan continued. To those who stand with us, we welcome you. To those who come to destroy, we are ready. Not with hate, but with strength. In deep space, the Zorth fleet received the message. Some ignored it, others hesitated. But the order had already been given. On Earth, world governments united faster than ever before. Satellites were moved, defense grids activated. For the first time in history, all nations spoke with one voice. The humans had less technology, smaller ships, weaker weapons. But they had something the Council forgot well. They had faced death before: plague, war, famine, collapse, and survived. Now once again, they stood at the edge of darkness. As Unity 1 entered the solar system, Earth was already preparing. Fighters launched. Civilians were moved underground. Every telescope tracked the sky. But something unexpected happened. Ships began to arrive. Not human, alien, small at first, then more. Then many species that had never spoken in the Council. Species that had been slaves, outcasts, forgotten, just like humanity. One by one. They sent the same message. We stand with Earth. They remembered the fire they had once lost. They saw it burning again in humans. By the time the Zorth fleet reached Earth, they were no longer facing one planet. They were facing a wall of ships from 50 worlds in the command center. Rihan watched the screen. He didn't smile, but he felt something deep inside hope. "We may lose," he said, the old pilot replied. "Then we lose together." But not quietly. Rihan nodded. "Send one final message to the Council." The message was short. "This is humanity's answer. We will not kneel." And then the stars lit up with the fire of resistance. The battle for Earth had begun. The first shot was fired near Jupiter. A bright beam from a Zorth warship cut through space like a sword. One of Earth's defense satellites exploded. Alarms rang across the system. Battle for Earth had truly begun. But this time, humanity was not alone. From every side of the solar system, alien ships arrived. Small, fast crafts, heavy cruisers. Even old freighters converted for battle. They had different flags, different shapes, different voices, but one purpose. They came for Earth. They came for Rihan's voice. The Zorth Dominion was powerful, experienced, and angry. Their fleet moved with deadly precision. They were used to winning, crushing, silencing, but they had never fought against a planet full of survivors. In a galaxy waking up, Earth's united fleet held the first line. Missiles fired, lasers lit the dark. Old ships, once enemies, now stood side by side. American, Chinese, Russian, Indian, European, all flew under one flag. Humanity, Rihan, watched from Unity 1, high above the Earth. The sky outside was fire and smoke. But inside the ship, his voice remained calm. He wasn't just a diplomat now. He was the voice of every human who ever lived in silence. "Broadcast open," he said. Zoya activated the link. Across the stars, Rihan spoke again. "Look at us now. You erased us from history. You called us dangerous. You called us a mistake. But we built. We learned. We came back." The battle paused. Just for a moment. Across council space, beings watched screens, listened to audio, or felt the message. In ways unique to their species, "We do not ask for pity," Rihan said. "We ask for respect. You feared what we might become. Now, you see it." Behind him, images appeared. Earth's cities, its art, its music, its people. Children playing, doctors healing, astronauts reaching for the stars. We are not perfect, but we try. We fall, we rise. And when darkness comes, we don't run. The camera shifted. Ships were burning, some falling, but still fighting, and we are not alone. Suddenly, a massive ship appeared behind Earth's moon. It was ancient, older than any ship in the Council records, silver and gold. Covered in vines of living metal, the Watchers in the Council gasped the Elyari, a race thought to be extinct, silent for 1,000 years. Now their ship moved slowly forward, between Earth and the Zorth fleet. A single message was sent from them, only 2 words: "We remember." With that, the Elyari opened fire not on Earth, but on the Zeoarth. The battle changed. All across the field, small races rose up. Even some of the Zorth's allies turned. Their captains refused to fire. Some even joined Earth's side in the council. Chamber, chaos turned to shock. Voctel, the head speaker, stood silent as votes began to flip. Messages flooded the station. Earth has earned its place. We will no longer be silent. This is a new galaxy now. On Unity 1, the engineer shouted, "They're retreating. Zorth are pulling back." Rihan didn't cheer. Closed his eyes, so many had already died. Too many, but Earth still stood. The next day, the council chamber was full again. But everything had changed. Voctel stepped down. The old legend, Elyr, now stood at the center. "This council failed," he said. "It forgot what it was meant to be, a place for all." He looked at Rihan, and this man, this species reminded us Rihan was given the right to speak again, not as a guest, but as a full member of the council. His voice was calm but strong. "You called us forgotten," he said, "but we never forgot ourselves. You tried to silence us, but now we speak." He paused, "And we will keep speaking." A new law was passed. No species could be erased again. All would be remembered. All would be heard. Earth was now part of something greater. But more importantly, it had helped rebuild it. As Rihan left the council chamber for the last time, he looked up at the stars. They didn't seem cold anymore. They seemed alive, because one voice, in the right moment, can echo forever. And sometimes, that voice is human. Years had passed since the battle over Earth. The warships were gone. The smoke had faded. But the memory lived in every corner of the galaxy. It was called many things: the turning point, the fire of Earth, the Rihan, broadcast. But for humanity, it was something simple. The day they were no longer alone, Earth had changed. New ships now flew in the skies, built with alien metal and human creativity. The old borders between nations had grown weaker, replaced by a deeper identity, human, united. Children in schools learned alien languages next to their own. Artists painted stars. Farmers grew food on Mars. The world, once small and afraid, was now open wide. Ambassador Rihan Malik had become a symbol, not of power but of patience. His speech to the galaxy was now played in learning halls across thousands of planets. His words had become legend, studied, remembered. He had returned to Earth after the council vote, and for a time, he lived quietly. But peace, like war, never truly sleeps. One evening, as Rihan walked through a garden in Islamabad, a soft blue light appeared beside him. It was a message. A voice from the council. "The last vote has passed," the voice said. "A new law is in place. The council will no longer be ruled by fear. Every species, no matter how small, will have a voice." And the idea came from Earth. Rihan smiled faintly. The idea, that was all it took. Not an army, not fire. Just a voice in the right place at the right time. Later that year, he was invited once again to the council station. But this time, not as a visitor, this time as the first human high speaker. The hall was full. Aliens from 1,000 worlds watched as Rihan walked to the center of the chamber. No laughter, no mocking, just silence and respect. He looked around. At the circle of leaders, so many of whom once doubted him. "When we first came here," Rihan said, "you saw us as a threat. But we came with open hands. You tried to erase us. But truth has a way of surviving." He paused, then added, "We do not come to lead. We come to build. Together." One by one, the leaders stood. Some clapped, some bowed. And in that moment, a quiet change passed through the room. This was no longer a galaxy ruled by the strongest. It was now a galaxy shaped by voices that refused to be silent. Back on Earth, the changes reached even the farthest corners. Villages that once had no power now had alien tech lighting their homes. Diseases were cured with mixtures of Terran and alien medicine. A blind boy in Nairobi received artificial eyes from a moonborn healer. A girl in Lahore sent her music to 10 alien worlds, and they sent songs in return. Spaceports opened in Cairo, Jakarta, Buenos Aires. The stars no longer belonged to dreams. They belonged to everyone. Of course, there were still dangers, still fears. Not every race accepted this new unity. In the deep dark, whispers of resistance remained. Some called it the old order. But now, Earth was not alone. When a mining colony near Saturn was attacked, ships from 5 alien species came to defend it before Earth even asked. When drought hit a human farm world, an insectoid race from the desert planet Taraxi brought water-storing tech to save it. This was the new galaxy. Not perfect, but better. And it all began with one invitation, one voice, one answer. At the edge of council space, a monument was built. Simple, clear, made of steel, glass, and a stone from Earth's oldest mountain. On it were 3 words: "We remember humanity." And just below, in hundreds of languages, the quote that changed the stars: "We do not come to kneel, we come to speak." Every year, children from all over the galaxy came to visit. They stood before the monument, listened to the stories, and understood the truth. Humanity was not the strongest, not the oldest, not the most advanced, but humanity spoke when it mattered most. And in doing so, they reminded the stars of something they had long forgotten: hope. It started on a quiet night. The sky was clear. Cities were asleep. People across the world were dreaming about normal things. But far above Earth, in the cold silence of space, something impossible appeared. A giant ship, dark, smooth, and silent, slipped into Earth's orbit. It didn't make a sound. No alarm was triggered. No telescope had seen it coming. It was as if the stars themselves had opened and let something ancient slip through. In less than a minute, the world changed. Satellites picked up the ship and sent emergency signals. Military radars locked on, unsure if it was a weapon. Air forces in every country scrambled. Some leaders thought it was an attack. Others thought it was a trick. But the ship did not fire, did not move. It simply hovered high above the planet, waiting. Then, without warning, every screen on Earth turned black. Phones, TVs, computers, even smartwatches. A single message appeared in every language. The voice was not human. It was calm, deep, and strange. To the people of Earth, your presence is requested at the Galactic Council. No explanation, no reason, no threat. Just those words, over and over. People froze. Cars stopped in the streets. Soldiers lowered their weapons. World leaders stared at their screens, not knowing what to say. Was it real? Was it a joke? A test? But the ship above Earth did not blink. Waited. The United Nations held an emergency meeting. Representatives argued for hours. Some wanted to fire missiles. Some wanted to hide. A few suggested running underground and closing Earth to space. But one man, Ambassador Rehan Malik, stood and said something simple: "We should listen." Many disagreed. But no one had a better plan. Earth had never been invited to anything beyond its skies. Why now? Why humanity? What had changed? Rehan reminded them, if they wanted to destroy us, they already could. Finally, after long arguments and late-night talks, Earth made a decision. A team would go to the Galactic Council. It would be small, peaceful, and Rehan would lead. Them, the alien ship, still silent, opened a glowing doorway. It shared blueprints with Earth's top scientists' technology, far beyond anything humans had ever seen. Instructions to build a new type of ship, one that could travel faster than light, would be called Unity 1. For months, people worked together. The best minds from every country built the ship. It was a symbol: one world, one crew, one chance. Unity 1 wasn't a warship. It had no weapons. Only a message that Earth was ready to meet the stars with peace. On launch day, the world held its breath. News cameras covered the event. People gathered in parks, homes, and offices. Some prayed, some cried, some didn't know what to feel. The ship lifted into the sky with a quiet hum. Then, in a flash of light, it vanished into space. The crew felt strange. Time stretched. Colors twisted. It traveled through something that didn't feel like space or time or anything they knew. But they didn't stop. They followed the signal. On the third day, Unity 1 reached the edge of a star system. A strange station waited, huge and glowing, with moving rings and pulsing lights. Dozens of alien ships floated nearby. None of them looked the same. Some were sharp like knives. Others were soft and round like bubbles. They had arrived at the first checkpoint, a place called the Eye of Passage. An alien ship approached. It looked like a silver wing with no windows. A voice entered their minds, not through speakers, but directly into their thoughts. Earth. Follow us, Rehan looked at his crew.
I number.
One spoke, but they nodded. Unity 1 followed the silent guide deeper into the galaxy. They passed burning suns, shattered moons, and glowing planets. On every world they saw signs of great civilizations, cities in the clouds, floating oceans, towers taller than mountains. But wherever they stopped, the same thing happened. Aliens stared at them with wide eyes. Some moved away, some whispered in strange languages. Some simply stood in silence, and Rehan kept hearing the same sentence. Humans were not supposed to be here. At first he thought it was fear, then curiosity, but soon it began to feel like something else, like warning. They were told nothing. No one explained. The alien guides said only one thing: you were expected at the council. Finally, after a journey no human had ever taken, Unity 1 approached a massive structure. It was bigger than Earth's moon, shaped like a great ring, spinning slowly in the blackness of space. Lights shone across its surface like stars trapped in metal. This was it, the council station. As they entered, Rehan felt something deep inside him shift. This wasn't just a meeting. It was a moment in history. Behind them, Earth was small and distant. Ahead of them, the galaxy waited. And somewhere inside the council, someone already wanted them gone. World leaders had no choice. The alien ship waited in silence, floating above Earth like a shadow that never moved. Days passed, no more messages came. Just that one sentence: your presence is requested at the Galactic Council. Humanity stood at a turning point. Some said ignore it. Others said attack. But one man, Ambassador Rehan Malik, stepped forward and said, we must go. Rehan was not a soldier. He was a peaceful man known for his calm voice and strong heart. He believed in listening before fighting. After many long meetings, the United Nations agreed. Earth would send a small team to respond to the invitation. Rehan would lead it. No army, no weapons, just a message of peace, using blueprints sent. Secretly by the alien ship, human scientists built a strange new engine. It was unlike anything on Earth. They called the ship Unity 1. It was fast. It's faster than light. Rehan, along with 5 others, a scientist, a pilot, an engineer, a historian, and a translator boarded the ship and prepared to leave the solar system. No one knew if they would return. On launch day, the world held its breath. Children watched. From schools, old people cried. Every eye was on the sky. Then, with a silent flash of light, Unity 1 disappeared. They traveled through something that wasn't space. Colors bent. Stars twisted. Time felt slow and fast at the same time. It was like dreaming while awake. After a long silence, they arrived. They came out near a strange planet with rings of glowing gas. A space station floated above it. It wasn't like the ISS. This was alive, almost breathing. Aliens came to meet them. Tall, thin beings with silver skin and glowing eyes. They didn't speak, but sent thoughts directly into human minds. Peaceful thoughts. You are the first. The voice inside Rehan's mind said, come follow. Unity 1 followed the alien guides across more stars. They passed broken planets, ancient ruins, and giant alien cities that looked like oceans of glass. Every world was new. Every stop brought new eyes watching them. And everywhere they went, they heard the same thing, whispered in fear or surprise. Humans. We're not supposed to be here. Rihan began to worry. What do they mean? He asked the translator. But the translator didn't know. The phrase had no clear meaning. Still, the message was the same on every world. Confusion, fear, or silence. On the fifth stop, a short, round alien with yellow skin and 3 eyes approached Rihan secretly. It spoke with a nervous tone. You should not be at the council. It said, The old ones will not like this, Rihan asked. Why? What did we do? The alien looked down and whispered, You survived? Before he could ask more, the alien ran away. The team began to feel uneasy. Council, whatever it was not just a place for meetings. It was something ancient, powerful, and hidden. And someone or something did not want humans there. Their final journey took them to the edge of the galaxy, where a massive structure waited. It was a station larger than Earth's moon. It looked like a ring made of stars, turning slowly in the blackness. Ships of every shape and size floated near it, thousands of them. Every species was here. The Galactic Council Unity 1 was guided to a landing area. Rihan and his team stepped out. The floor was warm, made of a smooth metal that seemed to glow under their feet. Strange beings walked past, some floating, some crawling, some looking like living shadows. No one spoke to them, but everyone watched. Finally, a tall alien with 6 arms and skin like polished stone came to greet them. Welcome, it said. The council is waiting. Rihan felt something deep inside him, something he could not explain. It was fear, but also excitement. This was history. This was the moment. As the doors to the council opened, light poured out. A sound like a deep wind echoed through the hall. Rihan stepped forward, heart beating fast. Behind him, his team followed in silence. They had arrived. But somewhere in the shadows of the council station, a cold pair of ancient eyes watched them closely, and a voice whispered across space and time, They should have never come.